And that was Rondella. No to racism of any kind. It wasn't just don't be anti-black, it's don't be anti-white, whatever.
It was, and that's what we want. We want it. There's so many incidents that keep cropping up, Alan, in football, and we all want to see it stamped out. You know, it's certainly something that UEFA and FIFA are desperately trying to get involved with, and it's something that should happen.
Well, I mean, we've had it in this group. Remember the abuse that Yaya Toure took in Moscow when City won away at CSKA? Intolerable. By the way, they've won both their away fixtures in this group, Champions League group, Manchester City. Wouldn't it be marvellous if they could dump Bayern as Arsenal did so unexpectedly last season?
I mean, we talked about before, Alan, weren't we? It's the last defeat here at the arena against Arsenal, an English club. So there is positives for Manchester City, but looking at the side and seeing the strength that's in that team tonight that Bayern have put out, Pep Guardiola is obviously going to say, well, look, we're going to continue the form that we're in and we're going out to beat them.
Manchester City, basically all white strip tonight. Bayern Munich are sort of substantially dark grey. City kick off. The referee is from Spain, David Borbolan, and I'm most interested to see how this little Spaniard does on his return after injury. David Silva always in the best of starts. He's given the ball away. Ribery chases forward into the City penalty area, right side, and then he's tackled, and City need to clear the ball. Acting captain Kolarov, deep inside his own half, smashes the clearance upfield towards the halfway line, and Dzeko. It's headed very carefully down by Van Boyden, and here's Dante, the Brazilian, back to Neuer, who over the last couple of days with typical mischief, his name has been linked with Manchester City, and Guardiola, asked about it, said no.
You know, he was linked with Manchester United before he came here, wasn't he, Alan? So he didn't want to go to England at that time, and he's in the best club side in world football right now.
Why would he want to leave the European champions apart from money? It's a factor, isn't it? Anyway, here's Cruz, one of the German internationals in this fantastic German team. Now Dante, on to the Austrian left back, Alaba, to Dante once more, on the halfway line, left of the centre circle, drifts the ball forward in the direction of Götze, who'd made a forward run, but it's cleared by Manchester City up into the Bayern Munich half, and Dante is there. The stadium is pretty much full, a bit like my plane today from Manchester to Munich, which was full of Manchester City supporters. So it doesn't matter to them that substantially there's nothing at stake here tonight.
No, it doesn't. Of course they come here, and you know, we keep saying as well, they do take positives of historical games that have gone against Bayern Munich here, but they're strong. But they come out here, Manchester City, they're in form right now, certainly in the Premier League, and this is a time they can come here and do that.
The Bayern Munich fans are all standing around the Allianz Arena at the moment, applauding. This must have been a pre-arranged signal, but they haven't deigned to tell us what it's about. Their team have a free kick about 5 yards in from the left touchline, almost level over the edge of the City penalty area. Ribery takes it right-footed, swinging the ball in towards Joe Hart, headed away by Manchester City's Lescott, and taken up by Milner, but Milner ran into a Bayern player, and out of his penalty area very quickly. Neuer, confidently out of his penalty area, he was halfway to the halfway line, clears the ball to the left side, where City pick up possession again. Dreadful mistake by Lescott, and that was almost an own goal. If he'd been on target, that was 1-0 to Bayern, who mercifully just behind for a corner.
So a couple of bad passes there. First of all, Di Michelis gave a really poor ball back to Lescott, and Ribery had read the first bad pass. Lescott then looking over his shoulder, didn't see Joe Hart coming out to him, decided to pass it back when I think Joe Hart actually wanted him to leave it so he could clear it.
Lack of communication between two England internationals there. Corner to Bayern Munich, deliberately played very deep to Philip Lahm, great control by the fullback. Lahm now on his left foot, crosses a bit too high in the penalty area. The target was Dante, and it's cleared away, but Ribery keeps it in play on this near touchline, rushes forward into the City penalty area. Now it's played to Dante, who crosses low, but it's cleared and out for a throw-in to Bayern Munich. Near side of the field, throw goes to Ribery. Allo is available, but it's back instead to Cruz. Cruz is crossing towards Mandzukic. headed away by Kolarov, and Manchester City under early pressure. Lamb crosses into the penalty area. Once more, Lescott heads it clear. Picked up by Thomas Muller on the far side of the field. Back into Alcantara, and Alcantara, the Spanish international, his pass forward wasn't accurate, but back are City under pressure. Bayern dominating possession in these opening couple of minutes. There's a foul there by Richards on Ribery. Ribery stays down, and the referee from Spain having a word with Micah Richards.
I think Ribery actually stopped there initially, didn't he? Backed into Micah Richards, rode the first challenge, and then I think Micah Richards just got a little bit frustrated and kicked out a little bit on his heel.
But Ribery tends to exaggerate at times. I'm sure he's okay. It's a free kick. There's constant pressure from Bayern Munich. It's interesting the way that Ribery chased the ball towards the near side of the field. He didn't want it to go out for a throw-in. He wanted to keep it in play, keep the pressure on. That's a great ball forward to Thomas Muller. Muller left-footed. 1-0 Bayern Munich. It's been coming from the start of the game. The European champions are in front. It was one touch initially from Thomas Muller, and then bang with the left foot. City are behind.
Well, it's a wonderful ball played forward. Great movement from Muller off the right wing. He's come inside Kolarov. He didn't track the run. He's come inside then Lescott as well. Great touch, instant control on the chest, and a wonderful finish past Joe Hart with the left foot.
And remember, we always had an own goal scored by Lescott. It's not the furthest of starts from Manchester City. Here's Kolarov on the far side of the field from the kick-off. Back to Joe Hart. Remember, Hart, he wasn't to blame for that, but he didn't have the brightest of evenings at the Etihad when Bayern came visiting. Here's Richards to Navas. Navas dumps it into the shins of Ribery, and it's out of play. By the way, they've got a chorus leader here at this arena as well, so he's leading the crowd. We're aided and abetted by a microphone. Goes ramming down his throat the next time he's anywhere near us. But no, I'm only joking, folks. Hart clears the ball upfield for a chase in Manchester City. Dzeko heads it down but behind Silva, and it's collected by Götze. Away to the right, and the goal scorer Thomas Muller. Back to Lamb, the captain. In now to Boateng. Götze, and they're just building from the back at the moment at Bayern Munich. They look so assured in possession. The difference I noticed from last season, Kevin, is that they're much more like Barcelona in terms of the pressing that they do. They weren't quite as pressurised against the opposition last season. Here's Mandzukic, though, into the City penalty area once more. Doesn't leave it for Ribery. Ribery should have really taken up the ball, and Manchester City managed to clear. Here's Silva. Dzeko breaks in the inside left position. Good pass to the left side, though, for Milner. Milner now for Manchester City on a rare attack in the opening 7 minutes. Already a goal down. Taps the ball to the left, the cross into the penalty area, and it's cleared quickly by Götze. Back into City's possession on the far side of the field. Isn't there a wonderful noise in this arena?
Wonderful. Just going back to the goal as well, I think it was lack of communication again between Lescott and Kolarov, because Muller's made the run very, very wide. He's come straight across Kolarov. If Kolarov communicates with Lescott, he sees the run and tracks it. Certainly seemed to lack communication in that instance there.
There's possession wasted by Lescott, who hasn't had a great opening 7.5 minutes. Bit like his team. Alcantara for Bayern Munich. On to Götze, finding Thomas Muller into Ribery. Wide to Götze once more. Thomas Muller now aiming to join Mandzukic around the edge of the penalty area. They still build Bayern Munich. Their captain Lamb into Alcantara, who's playing in the position that Philipp Lahm normally plays in for Bayern Munich, just in front of the back four. Alcantara squanders possession. Richards chips the ball forward, but Navas is about a mile offside. He was almost so far offside the assistant might have lost him.
He just delayed his pass there, Micah Richards. Actually, he'd set off very early, Navas. I think if he'd have got his head up early, he'd have played it and he'd been in, but because Navas continued his run, he was then, as you say, good mile offside.
Good ball by Boateng to the far side. Thomas Muller onto Ribery. Ribery fouled by Lescott. Free kick to Bayern Munich. Well, all I can say is that Vincent Kompany's on the bench. and maybe needed in the second half, the way Lescott started.
It's a great start from Bayern, though, isn't it? You know, you said before about the pressing. They're pressing high, but when they're in possession, they're moving the ball so quickly around the pitch.
So the free kick is level with the edge of the City penalty area towards the far side of the field. That is the Bayern right in the first half. Thomas Muller is with Mandzukic and Boateng inside the penalty, and Dante, tall Brazilian. The free kick can be taken by one or two players. Either way, it spells danger for Manchester City's defence. Cruz is across there. Will it be Cruz's right foot? It is. There it goes, in towards the near post. Dante heads on. It's saved by Hart.
Well, the ball's curling away from Manchester City defence, so Dante was backing off. He did well to get a good head on the ball, but again, it was poor marking.
Lamb to Cruz. Cruz's pass was wasteful, and that's unusual for a Bayern Munich player under Guardiola. City had the ball with Fernandinho. He's hardly touched it, Fernandinho. Forward to Silva. Wasn't the best of passes to Silva, and eventually Silva loses it. Bayern Munich with Boateng. To Lamb, their captain. He could play absolutely anywhere on the pitch. I love the way Guardiola uses him in front of the back four, and he was so good that night at the Etihad. I swear if he was playing up front, he'd still be good.
Yeah, incredible play. He can play left and right back as well, but the left back from the Alaba now, I saw him play for Austria against Ireland in Dublin, play central midfield. Alan, absolutely outstanding performance from him. He's another one who can play further up the pitch as well.
He's only 21 and he's already won 30 caps for his country. Mandzukic rolled over as if he was fouled there. He wasn't. Good refereeing from the Spaniard. And then City squandered possession again. Here's Götze into Ribery, 25 yards from goal. Ribery squeezes the pass to the right side. Thomas Muller crosses in towards Ribery. Ribery lets it go, mistake by the defender, and then a shot by Ribery, comes back off the post, and it's behind, and the referee's given a corner.
I think Joe Hart got a touch on it as Frank Ribery, but Mandzukic was totally free. If Frank Ribery could just clip it over Joe Hart there, nobody was marking Mandzukic. He was stood just underneath the crossbar.
Cruz to take the corner for Bayern Munich. From the far side, they're right. 11 minutes gone. It's been almost total pressure in Manchester City. Bayern leading 1-0. Cruz right-footed, deep, towards Dante. Controlled by Mandzukic. Forward, this could be 2-0. And it is 2-0. Götze has scored the second goal. And we haven't played a dozen minutes.
So simple and easy, Alan, wasn't it? Demichelis never pushed out with the back four when they all squeezed out for the initial header. He played him on side. It was a simple finish for Götze, wasn't it? Just took his touch and finished it past Joe Hart, giving him no chance again.
You know, I agreed with Pellegrini's choice. You know, when I saw it, I think he's prioritising the Arsenal game. Saturday lunchtime. You can hear that commentary on 5 Live, by the way. 12:45 kickoff. But the way this has started, if Bayern continue like this, City could be humiliated.
That's it. And what's that going to do for the confidence of the squad?
Well, there's another mistake by Lescott with the ball squirted away from Mandzukic, and Lescott in particular.
He's had a poor start, Joelin Lescott. He really has, and he doesn't look up to pace at all, Alan, does he?
Bayern Munich 2, Manchester City 0. No score at the moment. From Old Trafford, 0-0. Richards has got a problem. Pellegrini is out in the edge of his technical area. Zavaletta's on the bench. I think Zavaleta may be coming on for Michael Richards already. And we played 12 and a half pretty devastating minutes for Manchester City.
Yeah, it looks a hamstring there for Michael Richards, certainly, but I mean, you just need to change. The goals they've conceded, Alan, very, very poor, I think. Even the first one, it was a good finish from Muller, but it was a long run from him. He should have been picked up. The second goal was terrible marking.
Richards had gone off the pitch. He's now back on it, but it's only temporarily. And it's as if Bayern are saying, hold up the play. Look, well done, Frank Ribery. He's telling Joe Hart, I'd have put it out so that Richards can be substituted. They're playing against 10 men at the moment, Bayern Munich, and they're already 2-0 up. Firm header back toward the Bayern penalty area by Alcantara, but the defender Boateng decided to clear it quite quickly. And here's Cruz to Alcantara, back to Dante. Boateng once more. Boateng, who'll be facing his brother in the World Cup. His brother, remember, Kevin Prince Boateng, plays for Ghana. Boateng chose to play for Germany. Ball's on the halfway line with Alcantara. Almost lost it. The ball squirts back, and Boateng is there, and Zabaleta is now warmed up on this freezing cold evening in the south of Germany, and is ready to come on. So they've conceded 2 goals, and they've had to make a change because of injury.
It's certainly been a terrible start for them, but it's just the body language on the mass. That first goal was a big shock for them, but they haven't really done anything to try and get themselves back in the game.
Alaba crosses in towards Thomas Muller. Thomas Muller beat Colour up in the air, but didn't get much of a dancing blow with his forehead. Ball still in play, edge of the City penalty area, and now it's knocked forward to Dzeko. Good control by Dzeko. Plays it forward to Navas. That was an excellent pass. Navas' first touch wasn't great. Dzeko's available for the cross. Silva's in the penalty area as well. Navas onto his left foot, crosses a little too high. There's a shot driven in by Milner, saved by Neuer.
Much better for Man City. I think Navas recognised he didn't have the pace to beat Alaba on the outside. Check back on his left foot, a great ball to the far post, and a lovely knock back from Dzeko. Good strike.
You're in the situation with both teams having qualified for the knockout stages. I wouldn't have been that surprised. It would have been a sort of dull, after you sort of type of game tonight. It's been electrifying in the first quarter of an hour.
With Munich at the weekend, with that 7-0 victory over Werder Bremen, they come into it full of goals. I think they're averaging over 3 goals per the last 10 games as well, Alan, so they're in real form right now.
Micah Richards really quite upset having to come off, and I think that's a bad hamstring injury for the looks of it. So Zabaleta is on. After a quarter of an hour, you're listening to 5 Live in the BBC. Bayern Munich 2, Manchester City 0. What have United? Alistair Roos ball.
Manchester United 0, Shakhtar 0. A little bit of tension creeping around Old Trafford in the last 5 minutes or so. Shakhtar could easily be ahead. Manchester United prized open very easily. Teixeira got in behind them in the one-on-one with De Gea. His shot just shaved the far post. One effort for Manchester United. Phil Jones from a tight angle. His shot was easily saved. It is Manchester United 0, Shakhtar 0.
I wish it was 0-0 here. That's on behalf of Manchester City. It ain't. Bayern Munich, the champions of Europe, lead by 2 goals to 0. Both of them scored in the first 12 minutes of the match. Now it's quieting down just a little bit. It won't be for long in this wonderful stage, the Allianz Arena. Here's Boateng for Bayern Munich, heading it crossfield from right to left. Too high, too hard that for Ribery. It's out of play for a throw into Manchester City, and their substitute Zabaleta will take it. Not a great deal of movement to help Zabaleta out. Fernandinho goes across. Garcia's available as well. Dzeko's on the halfway line. Finally the throw goes to Silva. Silva back to Fernandinho. And on to Silva again. Silva trying to squeeze his way through a couple of challenges from Bayern Munich. Can't beat the second of them. And then there's another foul on Ribery. Not Richards this time, he's off the field. It's his replacement, Zabaleta, who's guilty.
I think he's coming on to try and give him the same sort of treatment. But just looking at Manchester City though, and I know we talk about Bayern Munich being this top team, but they look like they're standing off them, don't they? They're paying them a little bit too much respect. Certainly in the area they are now, back in their own half, sit off, yeah, but when they get over the halfway line, they need to engage and they need to try and get them closer to the Bayern players.
Here's Ribery. Good ball forward to Alaba, the Austrian left back. The cross high in towards Mandzukic, and the first really good thing Julian Lescott has done tonight, heading the ball behind for a corner.
Brilliant from Ribery initially. Beat a couple of players, slotted a lovely ball to Alaba, who'd made a really good overlapping run, and a good cross, but Julian Lescott did very well.
Cruz to take the corner from the right side, heading it right-footed. Well, the last corner led to the second goal for Bayern Munich. 2-0 up here in Munich. 18 minutes played. Cruz crosses in. Dante was there, headed away. Ribery shoots on the volley, and that was blocked by Lescott. And Ribery chases after it again. You see this attitude of refusing to let the ball go out of play for a throw-in. It was the normal option most players would take. He keeps it in play, keeps the pressure on Manchester City. Now it does go out for a Bayern throw-in. Guardiola in the technical area. Always dapper, isn't he? That's the tailor I go to as well, but he just can't do anything for me. Here's Thomas Muller. Scored the first goal. Edge of the City penalty area. Backheels the ball, but backheels it to a white shirt, and Milner clears it towards the near side, and Dzeko. Back to Zabaleta to Dimichelis, but it's allowed to run to Hart. Dimichelis will not wish to be on the end of a hammering at a ground where he enjoyed 7.5 great years. Hart clears it. Dzeko chases after. Great control by Dzeko. He's unlucky there because Lam rushed in from the right back position, made a challenge, and the ball is back with Neuer. Neuer did save well from Milner's shot, but that's the only effort that City had remotely on goal.
I think Manchester City are finding it very difficult to make these simple passes into midfield right now. It's either a long ball or a backward pass.
Ribery to Götze, taken up by Ribery again, who's drifting ominously from left side to right side. He's on the right at the moment. Plays it to Lam, into Thomas Müller. Müller checks. He's tackled by Fernandinho, and the City player wins it. And then it's given away by Kolarov, and it's Ribery. Thomas Müller to his right. Ribery comes forward. Doesn't need any support really. Muller's still available if Ribery passes the ball to him. No, he can't do so because Kolarov tackles and again gives the ball away. That's wretched. Götze back to Cruz. Cruz shot is on target, but it's saved by Hart.
He did so well, Kolarov. He dispossessed Ribery, who was on a good run at that time, but he got his head up, and there was 3 Bayern players in that area that he passed it into. There was only one Man City player, so he'd have been best served to try and go into Dzeko in that instance and go a little bit longer.
It's great noise in this stadium, isn't it? It's as if it's so tall, the roof is so tall that there's nowhere for the noise to go. It can't escape. And City are feeling a lot of pressure, a lot of careless passing. Garcia's just given the ball away. Alaba, the left back for Bayern Munich. Back to Dante, and Dante sweeps it to Boateng. Alcantara takes it up. I'm not sure how long Alcantara will keep Philipp Lahm out of Guardiola's favourite position, front of the back four. Here's Dante once more. We saw him playing at Wembley for Brazil. Back to Neuer, all in red tonight, the German number 1 goalkeeper. Neuer very carefully passes it to the right side to Boateng. Boateng in now to Götze. Götze with Thomas Müller ahead. He spotted that Müller had run into an offside position, therefore kept possession. Now it's with Alcantara inside the centre circle. On to Dante. Dante to Ribery, who's 20 yards inside the City half, cutting in from the left side, exchanging passes with Alaba. He doesn't play like a left back at all. It's more like a left winger. It's only when they're on the defensive that you notice Alaba rushing back to join his central defensive colleagues.
So much energy, Alan, hasn't he?
Terrific young player. We think we've got good left backs in England. Here's Silva. Fernandinho had done well to find him. On to Navas. Navas midway inside the Bayern half. How City could do with the goal. Trying to chip it forward to Dzeko. Taken on the chest by Dante and cleared hurriedly to Ribery. And Thomas Müller in support. Ribery knows that. Ribery's moving inside. And I thought he was going to get away from Lescott, but he didn't. And City have the ball with Zabaleta. Forward to Navas. We're already midway through the first half. 2-0 to Bayern Munich, but it's breathless.
No, it's been a wonderful start. Joel Lescott did really well there, Alan, actually, because Ribery was 1-on-1 with Dimichelis, and you can see Dimichelis initially, as soon as Ribery started to run at him, retreat, but Lescott came over and tracked his other centre half and did well to dispossess Ribery in the end.
Lescott plays the ball back to Joe Hart. Hart hits it forward towards the right side towards Navas, but Alaba gets there first. A firm pass back to his goalkeeper Neuer. Excellent control with his feet by Neuer, and it's with Boateng back to Neuer, and Neuer again doesn't hurry the clearance and accurately finds Götze just short of the halfway line to Lahm. Lahm with a crossfield ball just ahead of his penalty area. Such confidence. Dante now to Cruz and to Ribery. Remember, this team doesn't have Robben and Schweinsteiger in it. Cruz back to Alcantara, edge of the centre circle, on to Boateng, moving into the Manchester City half, hurriedly forward, great control on the chest by Götze, down to Thomas Müller, Philipp Lahm, to Boateng. Only Dante and the goalkeeper Neuer are inside the Bayern half for the European champions. The rest are on the attack, and here's the latest of them. Ribery yard into the left touchline, faced by Zabaleta, takes him on the outside, beats on the inside, beats him on the outside again. Fibri again teasing Zabaleta, and finally didn't get the cross in. One after too many, but Cruz has done well, picking up possession and winning a corner. That was cheeky, wasn't it?
He just did too much at the end now, didn't he? Beat him 3 times and then decided to try and check back again, and you've got to give it to Zabaleta for his persistence. He did well in the end to dispossess him.
I think he was so dizzy he fell into the ball. I'm not taking the mick out of Manchester City, promise you. Cruz with a corner into the City penalty area, headed away by Dzeko. Lam knocks it back high towards Thomas Müller. Fernandinho gets ahead of the ball. Good play by Navas. Fernandinho. Silva's available. It's played the other direction though, towards the right, towards James Milner. Milner now with Alaba back there. Oh, Milner telegraphed the pass, easily intercepted by Boateng and brought clear by Alcantara for Bayern Munich.
There's an opportunity though. I think Dzeko just peeled off Dante. I think he was actually trying to clip it, Milner, but just didn't connect with the pass the way we would want.
Navas to Zabaleta, an early forced substitution for Pellegrini after Richards pulled up with a hamstring injury. Navas again, Dzeko moving through the middle towards the edge of the Bayern penalty area. Meantime the ball's down the right side with City. Navas plays it back to Garcia. I've hardly noticed Garcia in the game. Fernandinho to Lescott, on to Garcia again. Firm pass hit to Silva. Silva spins away from Oliver. Good work by Silva. Finding Milner. Milner, a couple of yards outside the penalty. Dzeko lays it back. Fernandinho shoots over the crossbar.
Good football, really good football from Manchester City. Again, it was David Silva. He's the man that makes them tick, really. He's the one that's really got hold of this game for Man City, and they need him because there's no one that's really asserting themselves on this match, and there's no one that's able to make 2 or 3 passes right now for City.
I mean, the further we go, Kevin, the more we're having to look for, possible bonus points for Manchester City. They're going to lose this game, I don't know what the margin will be, but Bayern are so much better. But Silva already in 25 minutes has shown that, he's ready to come back.
Well, that was the big plus that we saw when we initially saw the teams, wasn't it, Alan? Seeing David Silva back in there tonight, and City need him.
That's an awkward ball for Garcia to play back to Joe Hart. Hart did really well, taking it in his chest and then whacking it upfield. Navas is after it, and good goalkeeping by Neuer, unafraid to come out of his penalty and heads the ball out of play for the throw-in.
Yeah, it's brilliant goalkeeping. He's 10 yards outside his area. Navas had read the clearance from Joe Hart, got the run on Alaba, but really good goalkeeping from Neuer.
It's still Manchester United 0, Shakhtar Donetsk 0 in the game at Old Trafford here in Munich. Bayern Munich 2, Manchester City 0. Goals from Thomas Müller after 5 minutes and Götze after 12. Alaba with a throw-in that looked suspiciously wrong, but he gets away with it, and then City pick up possession. Silva chipping the ball into Fernandinho. Fernandinho with Navas to his left, didn't pick him out. Rather, it was Milner to his left. That was a wasted opportunity for Manchester City. Now Milner picks up the ball down the far touchline, back to Fernandinho. Navas is on the right and he's unmarked at the moment. Silva involved. And now Fernandinho, that's a good ball to the edge of the penalty area. And can it be teed up for Dzeko? It was an awkward pass for Dzeko to take, but he controls it well. Finds Zabaleta. Lots of white shirts representing Manchester City inside the Bayern half. 27.5 minutes play. 2-0 City trail. Navas crosses from the right, bouncing toward Milner, headed back. Silva might score. Silva has scored for Manchester City. They're back in the game. Bayern 2, Manchester City 1.
Well, that man David Silva, we were just speaking about him, but it was a really good spell actually there for Manchester City. He made 10 or 15 passes. It was the first real chance they've had in the game to get the foot on the ball. Brilliant ball played in from Navas. Milner did really well to make up the ground at the far post, nod it back across goal, and Silva finished really well.
Well, that's just to tell me off basically for saying that, City are going to lose the game.
Well, I mean, just before that, they had a good little spell of maybe 4 or 5 passes where they looked a bit, they looked like they were going to be able to open up Bayern Munich, and again it was Silva involved. He did really well initially to put, I think it was Navas away on that right-hand side, but good spell from Man City, and that's what they need to do. They're just not putting Munich under enough pressure.
I'm sure Arsene Wenger has found a way of watching this game tonight, wanting to see how Manchester City look ahead of the big game at the Etihad. on Saturday lunchtime, 12:45. You hear full commentary on 5 Live. And don't forget, tomorrow night, Napoli against Arsenal is our Champions League commentary on the network. Silva scored the City goal. Good ball forward, lofted towards Navas. Jekyll breaking into the penalty area. Navas wastefully shoots towards the near post, shoots wide into the side netting. It's FC Copenhagen 0, Real Madrid 1. Luka Modric with a goal for Real Madrid. Here it's 2-1 to Bayern Munich. Bayern having gone 2-up. Di Michelis penalised. That was just an accidental clash of heads with Mandzukic, but the Spanish referee said no, that was unfair, and it's a free kick to Bayern Munich.
I think he just had his hands in his back. I was just seeing him jumping there, had his hands right in the bottom of Mandzukic's back just to put him off. I think the referee actually got that decision right.
Free kick's taken. Alcantara plays the ball back to Boateng, and now it's with Dante, the other central defender for Bayern Munich. He turns and plays it back to Neuer. They're not quite as dominant over the last 5, maybe even 10 minutes, Bayern Munich. Is that because City have got better, or they've just eased off Bayern Munich?
I think it's definitely City getting better. They've come into the game more now. They're a lot more positive. They look like they're comfortable on the ball again. We know they've got good players, Man City, but I think they just started on the back foot and allowed Bayern Munich to exert their tempo on them.
Half an hour play. Good ball by Dante, finds Ribery. Ribery surges away from Garcia, plays it to the right side. Thomas Muller is in field at the moment. It's with Götze to Ribery. Ribery back to Philipp Lahm. To Ribery once more. Thomas Muller breaks forward, and Ribery tried to pick him out with a cross hit very low in there, but it's cleared by Manchester City. By the way, it's snowing so hard in Istanbul, and the Galatasaray Juventus game. I'll complete the story in a minute, because City are on the defence or inside the penalty. Goodness gracious, almost an own goal. The clearance by Kolarov hit Mandzukic and flicked goalwards, and thankfully for Joe Hart, it was over the crossbar.
Well, Kolarov was just trying to be too clever. He was trying to pick Milner out on the left wing, trying to clip it over Mandzukic, and he just hit it straight against him and almost caught Joe Hart out.
Now, our snow story from Istanbul. It's snowing so much in Istanbul that they've switched the match ball in the game between Galatasaray and Juventus to an orange ball. Well, it's cold here, but we're not anywhere near that. The playing surface is immaculate in Munich. Silva from Manchester City, playing much better now. Kolarov forward towards Silva again, smashed clear by Boateng, out of play on the far side of the field, throw into Manchester City. Let's get an update. News of that Manchester United game at Shakhtar Donetsk. Al-Sabur's ball.
Rare attacking opportunity for Manchester United just gone. Wayne Rooney curling a free kick just past the post. In this first half, though, the home team's performance has tailed away alarmingly, having to soak up a lot of pressure. They've been sloppy in possession, and the best 2 chances have gone to Shakhtar. Alex Teixeira shooting wide in a one-on-one, and then shooting straight at De Gea. United 0, Shakhtar 0.
That was a great ball by Fernandinho to Navas. Now it's back to Zabaleta. Zabaleta to Garcia. He has to be careful, almost caught in possession. Well, he was just hurried into forcing the ball away from his Bayern challengers, and he put it out of play. Throw into Bayern Munich. Immediately goes to Ribery, to Götze. And then Götze, well, I think most players would have given up on that. Thomas Muller did not give up on it. Prevented a throw into City and kept it with Bayern's possession. Lahm on the far side now to Alcantara. 12 minutes to go to half-time. Alcantara just steps away from Garcia. Garcia's just not in the game. The ball's now with Götze. Götze flicks it to Mandzukic. Back it goes to Thomas Muller. Alcantara firmly challenged by Silva. And Silva runs forward, runs into Boateng. Boateng used his hand. Free kick to Manchester City.
Again, David Silva did really well for that interception. What's really notable, I'm seeing, you can see when Bayern are in possession, they were allowed to take 2 and 3 touches. When City are in possession, Bayern Munich players are straight on them, closing them down, giving them no time to move the ball.
Well, that was the wonderful thing about the Champions League final at Wembley. It wasn't just Bayern who played that pressing game. Borussia Dortmund did it as well. Non-stop work ethic. It was a treat. Ribery already looks really good tonight, but that's a rare squandered pass from him. Giving the ball to Navas. Garcia onto Silva, surrounded by Bayern players. But the ball is with Kolarov on the far side, the left back, into Garcia. and Lescott plays it back to Joe Hart. Joe Hart, edge of the 6-yard box. Woodbury nearest to him, representing Bayern Munich. Hart clears it up to Dzeko. Dzeko heads it on towards Navas. His first touch wasn't as good as he would have wished, and the ball is back by Alaba to the goalkeeper Neuer. Boateng now to Dante, and then they pick out Ribery once more, and again he's fouled by Zabaleta. I think one more challenge like that, Zabaleta, you'd be booked.
Yeah, 3 now challenges. First one was from Michael Richter before he went off, and then the last 2 from Zabaleta. Very similar challenges as well, weren't they? All just standing on his heel, causing a bit of discomfort for Ribery.
The free kick's been taken, and Boateng plays it to Götze, who played against Bayern, of course, in the Champions League final. He was playing for Borussia Dortmund when everybody knew that he was heading to Bayern Munich. That was very awkward. Here's Ribery running forward. You're trying to tell me something, Kev.
Oh, I was just saying, no, he was suspended actually that game. Well, he was injured actually in the Champions League final, wasn't he, Götze?
Yeah, well done. Well done. And you didn't stab me in the throat with it. Just nicely put me right. Well done. That would have been very awkward for him.
Well, it was a big talking point at the time. I remember it, Al, because he pulled out during the week, and he was obviously the star man at Dortmund, and he'd already agreed to move to Bayern, so it was a bit of ill feeling, I think it was, from Jurgen Klopp going into that match.
Here's Zabaleta, forward to Navas. City are playing much better over the last 10 to 15 minutes. Navas crosses on the right, it's cleared by Boateng and Alcantara. Forward to Thomas Müller. Thomas Müller is another of these Bayern players who keeps switching positions. He finds Ribery cutting in from the left side, faced by Demichelis into the penalty area. Ribery, across comes Lescott, and Lescott has conceded the corner.
Yeah, the movement from Müller and Ribery is outstanding. They're both, like saying, interchanging positions. Either or's playing on the left and right-hand side of Mandzukic, and Mandzukic has been a really good target man now and causing problems for Lescott and Demichelis.
Cruz to take the corner from this near side of the field. That's the Bayern Munich left. We've got 10 minutes to go to half time. Bayern lead Manchester City 2-1. You're listening to 5 Live. Cruz into the penalty. Goodness, that went a long way before it was headed clear by Garcia. Lam from the clearance sweeps it away to the far side to Alcantara, who's got so much room. He swings the cross in, a diving header clear, this time by Demichelis, and now Milner takes it out. Milner to Silva, back to Milner, promising for Manchester City. Dzeko sprints forward, Navas is forward as well. Milner down to the left side, crosses the ball onto his right foot, crosses accurately to Navas. Navas back, hoping to find Silva, doesn't quite do so, and it's cleared by Bayern Munich.
It's a good break for Man City. Really good ball from Milner, played to the far post to Navas, but positive signs again for Man City.
Thomas Müller, Mandzukic, to find he fouled Demichelis, and it's a free kick to Manchester City. The orange ball in Istanbul isn't enough anymore. The players have had to come off because they can't see the lines on the pitch. The officials can't see the lines, that's the problem.
That NFL game this weekend, Alan, did you see that one where... NFL? I'd only seen it on the news. Incredible it was.
No, NFL, I love baseball. NFL, no. The San Diego Padres, by the way, are my team. Ball's back with Joe Hart from Manchester City. 8 minutes to go to half time. Bayern lead 2-1. Demichelis heads it forward to Silva. Silva tackled over. Zabaleta picks it up to Dzeko. Dzeko went down. That was such a dive. He wasn't fouled by Dante, and Dante just wagged his right forefinger at him. Don't do that again, son. Another update is imminent from Alistair Ball, Old Trafford.
Poor first half performance from Manchester United. Ashley Young, though, has just missed a great chance to put them ahead. Got through onto the end of a Ryan Giggs floated pass, one-on-one with the goalkeeper who came out, went for the lob 8 or 9 times out of 10. You'd expect him to score it. He lobbed it wide. Manchester United 0, Shakhtar 0.
Zabaleta with a throw into Dzeko and back to Zabaleta. And then 45-yard pass back to his goalkeeper Joe Hart, which the Bayern fans didn't enjoy or appreciate. Hart finds Lescott, and Lescott drives it in the direction of Dzeko. Might run to Navas. Alaba is so quick to get across. You thought he was always unlikely to get the tackle in, but the Austrian left back got it in and put the ball out of play for a throw-in, which City have taken. Zabaleta to Silva, back to Lescott, and Bayern Munich are just hemmed in their own half at the moment. Olympiacos won, Anderlecht 0 in the Champions League tonight. Here's Kolarov coming forward. Kolarov tackled early by Alcantara, and now it's with Philipp Lahm, the Bayern captain. Lovely chip pass to Cruz. Cruz still 10 yards short of the halfway line to Ribery. Ribery to Cruz once more. There always seems to be a man available for Bayern Munich. It's not just the man in possession that counts, it's the players who don't have the ball moving into a position from which they can take possession. Götze to Thomas Müller on the far side. Now Lahm. Alcantara, 6 minutes to the interval. Bayern Munich 2, Manchester City 1 here on 5 Live. 0-0 at Old Trafford between Manchester United and Shakhtar Donetsk. Now Lahm. Careful little pass forward to Götze. And Götze runs between two City players. The ball breaks to Ribery. Ribery keeps possession. Back to Lahm. Mandzukic wants to cross. Lahm delivers. Mandzukic jumps, heads it intentionally, I think, back to Götze. City clear, then give it away. Alcantara rolls the ball under his left foot, and then he loses possession, and it's forward with Dzeko. That time Dante, I think, did foul Dzeko, but play continued because City didn't lose possession. Navas goes forward. Dante fouls him, and he's going to be booked for that.
Yeah, I think that was the two challenges. The initial one on Dzeko, he allowed the play to go. And then Navas skipped away from him. Referee given the yellow card. It was actually really good hold-up play from Dzeko initially. City under a lot of pressure. Dzeko held it up well against Dante and put Navas away down the right.
Well, at 2-0 after 12 minutes, you thought this could be embarrassing. But City have definitely got back into this game. And would we be surprised if they made it 2-2 before half-time?
No, they're putting Bayern under a lot of pressure now, actually. And what's more notable as well, I think Fernandinho's getting more involved in the play, and so is Javi Garcia. You mentioned earlier on, Garcia, he wasn't even looking to make a pass, was he? But he's more involved now in the game.
Anderlecht have equalised in Athens. Olympiacos 1, Anderlecht 1, and it's Benfica 0, Paris Saint-Germain 1. Thomas Müller for Bayern Munich on the far side of the field. No relation to Gerd, of course. He tried to get the pass back to Lahm, but it went out of play, off the City player, and then off him, so it was a City throw-in, which they've taken. Kolarov on the far side of the field. Move inside his own half. Firm pass back to Joe Hart, and Hart clears it deliberately towards Navas on the halfway line. Glancing header on by Navas, and Dzeko's foot is very high there on Dante. It's a yellow card. Oh. Well, not clever. So the next bad tackle between the two of them, and somebody's going to be off.
I think that was the afters from before. I mentioned before when Dzeko held it up against Dante. Dante was standing on his heel, but the referee allowed play to go and then booked Dante later on. So I think that was a little bit of afters from Dzeko.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, both players, Dzeko and Dante, aren't averse to making the most of it.
Yeah.
if they're foul tackled. So the referee has to be careful. Alcantara with the free kick for Bayern Munich. 3 minutes to the interval. Bayern 2, Manchester City 1. Boateng to Dante. Dante still inside his own half. Plays it back to Boateng. Dzeko rushes forward, trying to put Boateng under pressure. Boateng finds Lahm. And Lahm back to Dante. Bayern in possession, particularly in the room, have slowed things down a bit. They only start moving with urgency when the ball's in this position. Ribery towards Alaba. Alaba can't get there before Zabaleta though, and Zabaleta finds Demichelis, and Demichelis gives it away. Far too often City players have given the ball away. Here's Alaba inside the penalty area. Ball breaks back off a defender. Ribery stretches the ball through. Here's a chance for Götze. Good save by Joe Hart.
Oh, it's brilliant save from Joe Hart, but what a reverse pass it was from Frank Ribery. Sold all the Manchester City players, didn't read the pass at all. Götze was through, and it's a good save from Joe Hart.
Well, he'll feel good about that. Unfortunately, at the moment, the England number 1 is Manchester City's number 2. If that means just playing in Champions League games, well, he'll just have to put up with it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he couldn't really do anything with the goals, could he? But
no,
that'll give him a lot of confidence. Certainly, it was a good save.
Dante hits the ball upfield, and Mandzukic doesn't bring it under control. Demichelis plays it back to Joe Hart, and Hart swings his right foot at the ball and clearing it up into the centre circle. Milner tried to bring it down into possession, but Milner left his foot in there on a challenge on Alcantara, and is this a yellow card? It is. James Milner will miss the first game in the knockout phase.
Yeah, and Silva there saying to the referees not much that Milner could have done. Alcantara certainly made the most of that, didn't he?
Yeah. There's too much of a tendency for too many players to do that, I'm afraid. It's bringing fellow professionals into trouble when there's no real need for it. Anyway, Alcantara takes the free kick, just shortened to his right to Boateng. On to Lam, who looks a tiny figure, and you think he'd be dominated in an arena like this. No, he's not. He's that good, Philip Lam. We like to extol the virtues, the ability of Ashley Cole, but Lam has been the best fullback in the world in world football for at least 10 years.
Oh, brilliant player. Another one as well coming through the German youth scheme as well. We've seen so many over the last 10 years, haven't we? Outstanding footballers.
Well, how many years ago was it they decided, look, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Our football isn't good enough, we're not bringing on players through, and the Bundesliga got together with the German Football Association, and they sorted it out between them, just like the Premier League will do with the FA. In our dreams. Oh, good header on by Thomas Muller to Mandzukic. Thomas Muller again into the penalty. Is this 3-1? No, because it's blocked by the foot of Demichelis. Well done, the Argentine.
Well, that's the option that Mandzukic does give you. They can go long at times. You know, for all the wonderful football we see them play, Munich, they have a long diagonal ball straight into Mandzukic, a wonderful flick, and it was a great run from Muller. I think he actually delayed his shot, and it allowed Demichelis to get back and make the challenge.
So it's still only 2-1, and we're into a minute of added time to the end of the first half. Bayern corner taken by Kruse to Ribery, back to Kruse, and Kruse deliberately plays it deep. Lam had delayed his run. Lam controls the ball, swings the cross into the penalty area. Demichelis heads it away, only to Alcantara. Still time for Lam to swing another cross in. Demichelis heads it away again, and this time it's out of play for a throw-in.
Well, there's more positive signs, isn't there, here for Munich towards the end of this first half. Manchester City just got to try and ride this out.
It's a good game of football, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I think the second half at the Emirates on Sunday for us was excellent.
Yeah, it was.
And this has been a terrific first half in the Champions League. Ribery for Bayern Munich. Only seconds left. Forward to Thomas Muller. Muller's shot hits Demichelis behind for a corner. And it's the question of whether or not the referee will delay blowing his whistle to allow the corner to be taken. Strictly speaking, we've had our minute of added time. Kruse to take it from the right. Bayern will get to deliver the corner. City don't want to concede a third at this stage. Kruse delays, and now he plays it in. Dante was there, headed away by Lescott, but I think that's the half-time whistle. It is. And Bayern lead Manchester City 2-1. Kevin Kilbane.
Well, it was a wonderful start from Bayern Munich. Started the game on the front foot, went right at Manchester City, and you've got to say, Man City conceded 2 poor goals defensively. Didn't get themselves back in the game, but steadily through that first half, David Silva had a big influence, and he got them back in it with a great goal. So there has been signs for Man City, but Munich looks such a good side.
We cannot wait for the second half, to be honest. If it's as good as the first, it'll be a treat. Bayern Munich 2, Manchester City 1. Thanks very much, Mark. I'm still getting over Brownie's line about them having to paint the lines orange in Istanbul. Goodness gracious. Or was I naively thinking that Istanbul, you know, at this time of year might be moderately mild?
I couldn't believe that when we're hearing the reports coming through about the weather. You know, it's amazing. You expect it here a little bit. It's getting a bit chilly now, isn't it?
It is, a little bit. That's why I didn't leave for coffee at half-time. I'm actually frozen to the seat. No, it's not that bad. But the game's keeping our attention off the increasingly cold evening as we kick off in the second half. Bayern Munich leading Manchester City by 2-1. There's no further change in the 11s. Manchester City forced into making a substitution early in the game. Richards off with a hamstring problem, Zabaleta on. So City's line up for the second half begins with Hart in goal, defensive Zabaleta, Demichelis, Lescott and Kolarov. Then we've got Garcia and Fernandinho, then Navas, Silva, who got the City goal, and Milner, and finally Dzeko. Bayern's goalkeepers Neuer, their defence Lam, Boateng, Dante and Alaba, then Alcantara, then 4 across the midfield, Thomas Muller, Götze, Kruse and Ribery, and Mandzukic up front. Alcantara has the ball at the moment for the European champions, finding Cruz, back to Dante, and Dante hits it upfield in the direction of Mandzukic, and Lesko started the game really awkwardly, giving the ball away, looked nervous. He's settled down a lot.
Yeah, he has. He's settled down. I think it's gone the other way with Demichelis. He's actually been a little bit rash towards the end of that first half, but they've actually marshalled Mandzukic quite well, certainly for a period between 30 and 35, 40 minutes even. He had a good spell against him, but he's still a threat, Mandzukic.
Zavaleta hits the ball forward. Navas is diminutive in relation to Boateng, so Boateng naturally won the ball in the air, and it's back with Neuer. Bayern's number one, Germany's number one. Neuer clears into the City half, but City immediately knock it back into Bayern territory. Fernandinho chips the ball. Great chest control by Dzeko. Played it back to Navas. Navas shot at goal. It was blocked. Appeals were that it was blocked by an arm, but the referee didn't notice anything amiss, and Bayern had the ball again with Boateng. It's a bit like being at the Emirates. Bayern fans are slow to get back into their seats after half time. I think the food, the hospitality is very good here as well too. Here's Cruz into Götze. Now Ribery to the left side, and Alaba just to the left of the City penalty. Crosses in to the box, chested down by Fernandinho and cleared by Garcia, but Bayern have the ball back. Dante over the halfway line. Everybody bar Neuer is inside the Manchester City half now. Reminding you, it's still Manchester United 0, Shakhtar Donetsk 0 at Old Trafford. Ribery to Alaba. Alaba's cross was delayed, and Zavaleta managed to get a blocking challenge on it, and it's out for a throw into Bayern Munich. A couple of yards from the corner flag. Alaba throws to Ribery. Back to Alaba. And now it's Cruz. Cruz on his right foot. Crosses too deep in the penalty area for Thomas Muller, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, again, the threat's coming down Bayern's left, isn't it, Alan? Alaba and Ribery causing real problems for Manchester City.
By the way, the assistants either side of the referee not wearing tights, but the two static figures on the goal lines, tights. Does it make you think they don't do a lot? I'm
not so sure about that one, Alan, really not.
You mean you're not sure what they do? You're not sure about them wearing tights? City have the ball with Silva, their goal scorer. On to Milner. Milner booked in the first half, and Milner will miss the first game in the knockout phase through suspension. Silva to Milner again. Milner deep inside the Bayern half. Backheeled the ball, but telegraphed the backheel, and it's intercepted by Bayern, and it's out of play again for a throw into Manchester City, which will be taken by the acting captain tonight, Kolarov. In Manchester United's group, it's Real Sociedad 0, Bayer Leverkusen 1. 0-0 at Old Trafford, remember. Now, oh goodness, Alcantara, I thought he was caught there by Garcia.
Yeah, we had a good angle of that, didn't we, Alan? I think he was caught from Kolarov.
Well, he's back on his feet now, thank goodness, and the referee didn't deem it necessary to show a yellow card. Bayern Munich at the ball, Ribery inside the centre circle, on to Alaba. Alaba's so quick, across equally quickly too, hits Zavaleta and goes behind for a corner.
That was so quick, Al. They're in their own half, 3 passes. Alaba's virtually on the 18-yard box in the opposing half. Brilliant break from Bayern again, and Alaba, he is such a good player. He covers the ground so quickly.
I've been really impressed though with Ribery tonight.
Yeah, he has been.
Everywhere. He's taken his corner, Frank Ribery, from the left-hand side, hitting it right-footed into the near post, straight onto the head of Dzeko though. Good header by Dzeko. Well clear of his penalty area. And the ball's back on the halfway line with Philip Lahm. Lahm to Alcantara. And Alcantara squeezes the ball to the right side, and Thomas Muller might need an early cross. And it goes towards Mandzukic. Headed away by Demichelis, and then firmly back, who was that, Garcia, back to goalkeeper Joe Hart. 5 minutes played. The game's just flashing by, like the first half. But at this stage in the first half, Bayern had scored their opening goal, and they were 2 up within 12 minutes. Silva pulls one back for Manchester City though. Silva finds Milner. On to Silva again. Left edge of the penalty area. Good ball back. Shot driven in by Dzeko. Good save by Neuer.
Oh, it was brilliant play. Milner, and again it was David Silva. A really good run. Well picked out from Milner. Good pull back to Dzeko. Good strike. Just couldn't get enough power on it to beat Neuer. You would expect him to make the save.
Presumably it's sausages that they're eating here. And good sausages. Frankfurters or whatever they are. Look how many people are not in their seats. And we've already played 6 minutes in the second half. Throw into Manchester City on the far side of the field with Zabaleta, who came on as substitute early on in the game. Richards pulled a hamstring. Zabaleta waits to take the throw in. He's just short of the halfway line. Dzeko runs towards him. He's ignored, so Zabaleta throws it back, and Demichelis will play it to Joe Hart. Joe Hart, plenty of time to swing his right foot at the ball and clear it upfield. Great chest control by Dzeko again. Dzeko made good ground, having been involved in the throw-in on the far side of the field, and now there's a free kick for City for a foul on David Silva. It's played back to Lescott. Lescott forward to Silva again, who's played really well tonight on his return after injury. Ball comes back off Alcantara, out of play for a throw-in to City. Collar off to take it. Back to Lescott inside the City half, and a long way back to Joe Hart. It was a pass back by Lescott in the opening couple of minutes that almost led to an own goal.
Yeah, well, that just put the indecision in all the minds of the defence, didn't it? They just didn't really recover from that spell that they had. That was after about 2 minutes, Alan, wasn't it? And then they just continued to make mistake after mistake for that first 10 or 15 minutes.
It's 2-0 for Real Madrid away to FC Copenhagen. Guess who got the goal?
I'd say Ronaldo, would it be?
Possible. Yes, it is. And it's still Olympiacos 1, Anderlecht 1, but Anderlecht are now down to 10 men. Manchester City have possession with Garcia to Dzeko. Dzeko also has played well tonight.
Yeah, I've been impressed. I was going to say that before you mentioned about Silva. Dzeko, he's made up a lot of ground at times. He's been on his own, but he's playing really well.
Here's Navas surging forward towards the Bayern penalty area. He was tackled, ball squirts away. Only Garcia. Good first time pass to Zabaleta. Zabaleta up level with the edge of the Bayern penalty area. One pass to Garcia, back to Zabaleta, and now it's with Lescott. City have started the second half quite well. Silva to Garcia, who seemed out of it for a large part of the first half. Now on the far side, Navas, as Zabaleta appeared to have been fouled. Play continues anyway. Demichelis, a former Bayern Munich player, to Dzeko. Demichelis once more. Navas is available and free down the right side, and he gets the pass. 9 minutes gone since half time. Navas into Silva. Silva consistently causing problems for the Bayern defence. Silva to Zabaleta, and now to Garcia. It's perhaps the final pass that's missing at the moment from Manchester City. Galatasaray against Juventus has now been abandoned. It was 0-0, but it's now been abandoned, so it leaves the qualification in that group open. And the weather, of course, is bound to improve the nearer we get to Christmas. Ball's out of play on the far side of the field. That really is a strange story, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is. And when they're going to fit it in, that's the thing.
Yep, indeed. Here's a change for Bayern Munich. They're going to bring on Martinez and taking off Götze. Don't see the reason for that, particularly, but Martinez is a really good player. Replacing Götze. And there's our host on the microphone. Quite loud, isn't he? Alistair Moose ball is at Old Trafford.
Pretty desperate performance we're watching from Manchester United at home so far this evening. It is still United 0, Shakhtar 0. Early chances though in the second half have gone to Shakhtar. Rakitsky, the centre-back, hit the outside of the post after a scrambled corner. And Shakhtar need the win now, with Leverkusen ahead away against Sociedad. If Shakhtar win here, then they will top the group. Manchester United poor so far tonight. United 0, Shakhtar 0.
Garcia for Manchester City to Zabaleta, on to Navas on the far side, midway inside the Bayern Munich half, back to Garcia. Fernandinho having to retreat, keeps it in Manchester City's possession with Lescott to Silva, Back to Kolarov on the halfway line. He chips it forward. Milner had made his run slightly too early, and it's a free kick for offside.
Yeah, it was a clever run from Milner. Again, just went slightly too early. Decent ball forward from Kolarov. Good spell though for Manchester City now. They're coming into the game. Again, Silva getting involved. I've just been more impressed with Javi Garcia as the game's gone on. He's able to make one or two passes. He started the game really poorly, Al, but just as the game's developed, he's starting to have a little bit of an influence on it.
I shuddered after 12 minutes, thinking what was going to happen to Manchester City tonight, but it's far more level the game now. The Bayern fans behind the goal to our right are bouncing up and down. It's not like a Poznan, they're actually still watching the game at the same time, but I know they do that frequently. I think tonight though it's a help with the cold. Cruz to Alcantara and on to Lam, the captain. Lam over the halfway line. Back to Boateng. Boateng has Neuer screaming at him. Boateng ignores the goalkeeper, moves forward, chips it forward, flags definitely up for offside against Thomas Muller, who broke far too quickly. Yeah, but it's much better pressure from Manchester City as well. Probably Milner's been the one that's really got Man City on the front foot, but behind him Fernandinho and Silva all closing down in unison, and that's what they need to do more. They just, I felt through the first half, allowing Bayern Munich to dictate play. When you consider the players that Manchester City have available to bring into the starting 11 for the Arsenal game on Saturday, commentary on 5 Live, 12:45, it's becoming a much more encouraging performance for City, particularly with this man, Silva, onto Milner in the penalty, and Dante, that's a penalty! Dante was rash in the challenge on Milner. Milner was going absolutely nowhere, but the Brazilian central defender, wholly at fault, he blamed James Milner. It's not Milner's fault, it's Dante's fault, and it's a penalty for City. Well, Dante dangled the leg, Milner bought the foul, he did do that, he knocked it past him, he was going nowhere, he was running out of play, but Dante didn't need to make the challenge, he could have allowed him to run out of play. It was brilliant play from Silva again, and Milner initially. Milner played it into Silva, he continued his run, but Dante come over and made the challenge when he didn't need to. City were 2-0 down here in Munich after 12 minutes. It's now 13 minutes into the second half, and Kolarov for this penalty can make it 2-2. Whistles all around the Allianz Arena. Kolarov concentrate. Faced by Neuer. Penalty successfully converted. Neuer went to his left, Kolarov put it to his right, and it's 2-2. Yeah, really good penalty from Kolarov. Good positive signs from Manchester City. Certainly at the start of this second half, they've not allowed Bayern Munich to dictate the way that they dictated through that first half, and they're on the front foot again. Milner, I think, has played really well, certainly in the second half, and he's been the one that's got Man City going. And look at Milner and Dzeko now, they're both urging their colleagues, keep it going, keep it going. It's just a little bit of belief as well, isn't it? I felt as though they sat off Bayern too readily in that first half, and now all of a sudden you see Silva closing down. That's what you need to do to win games. Dante's producer Alfie Young's just pointing out Dante's already been booked. Yeah. So arguably he's lucky to stay on the pitch. Yeah, he is. I mean, he didn't need to make the challenge on it. Milner was going absolutely nowhere, and it certainly looked a foul. We've not seen the replay. It certainly looked a foul. He didn't need to make the challenge. Milner knocked it by him. He actually run the ball out of play, and Dante just dangled the leg, and Milner went over. Bayern Munich have won 10 Champions League games in succession prior to this game tonight. It's a record. It's now at risk. And when we spoke before the game as well with Pellegrini, he wanted a positive performance, sending out a bit of a message going into the knockout phases. And, this may give other teams confidence that they can come here and beat Bayern, because too many teams, I feel, you're worried about the threat that they pose before the game, and you're beaten before the first whistle goes. Here's Martinez, the Bayern substitute, finding Thomas Muller. Back to Philipp Lahm. Bayern stung into retaliation now. Cruz hits it towards this near touchline, the right. Thomas Muller didn't get there initially, but City didn't defend it after they'd headed the ball away. Martinez, back to Boateng, onto Ribery. Their best player tonight, Ribery, gets past one player, plays it back, Cruz shoots high over the crossbar. Magnificent conversion. He's had another shot on target, if you know what I mean. Yeah. It's good pressure though from Zabaleta, closing Cruz down. Again, Ribery coming inside, gliding past a couple of players. But Man City, I think Pellegrini certainly said something at half time just to close them down.
every time Bayern were coming over the halfway line in the first half, Manchester City weren't engaging. Now all of a sudden they're closing down and they're winning the ball back.
Well, after a dreadful start to the game for Manchester City, this is far more encouraging. But keep at it, lads. Alcantara to Alaba on the far side of the field. Alaba midway inside the Manchester City half to Ribery. Alaba again crosses low, and that went through the 6-yard box. I think Lescott knew what he was doing. It's behind for a goal.
Yeah, I think that was excellent goalkeeping from Joe Hart there. I think he gave a big shout to Joelyn Lescott to leave it. Lescott then recognised he didn't have anybody around him. Brilliant goalkeeping from Joe Hart. Good communication.
The attendance, by the way, 68,000 or thereabouts here, and it's a great stadium. It's a huge crowd that makes a lot of noise. I'll bet there's not much noise at Old Trafford tonight, the way things are going there. It's still 0-0. United and Shakhtar Donetsk, and that'll be a 76,000 crowd. Now, Alcantara over the halfway line. Garcia just shrugged him aside. He's improved vastly. Taken up by Silva. Silva with Navas breaking to the right. It's on to Navas. Into the penalty. Low cross into Orcheco. Not cleared. Milner shoots. Sit here in front. 3-2. Fabulous response from Manchester City in the second half. It was a great finish from James Milner. He won't play in the first game in the knockout phase, but it might be a momentous goal for Manchester City tonight here at the Allianz Arena. Bayern Munich 2, Manchester City 3.
Well, Milner's been brilliant in this second half. What a great finish it was from him. Wonderful ball played across from Navas. Great play from Man City. They're on the front foot. Again, it was Silva heavily involved in the build-up, but what a finish. The angle's against Milner. He's got it onto his right foot. He's just hit it first time across Neuer into the corner. Brilliant play from Man City.
It's a great response.
Oh, it is that. I mean, look at Milner again coming back. He's got the team on the front foot. He's been the one, I think, even just from closing down, he's got City right up against Bayern in this second half.
I saw Arsenal win here last season. Now, ultimately, it didn't matter. They were knocked out by Bayern Munich. That was unexpected. I came here tonight not thinking Manchester City, particularly, quote, an understrength Manchester City, 7 changes. How could they really press the European champions? They're doing it. I tell you what, another City goal now, and then that equation is available. If they win by 3 goals, they'll top the group.
Exactly. City get 2 more goals now. They do, and I mean, the way they're looking, they're certainly looking for more goals. I'm just admiring the way they're doing. Silva's pressing high as well. They're just more positive from the outset of this second half. So much better.
All right, Thomas Muller as Bayern try to respond, and Lescott again comes across, makes a challenge, and the ball's out of play for a throw-in. Well done, Julian Lescott. Muller takes the throw-in. Back to Lam. And midway inside the City half, near side of the field. That's the right. There's a foul on Alcantara by Fernandinho. Alcantara made a mountain out of it there, didn't he?
No, he did
unnecessarily, so
going down. It just goes to show the world, doesn't it? You get on the front foot, you close team down. Bayern were doing it to City in the first half, and when Man City were in possession, they couldn't get out, and they were allowing Bayern Munich in turn to be in possession of all 2 and 3 touches. This second half have gone right at them, putting them under so much pressure.
I like you can call me Al. Free kick to Bayern Munich. Take your hand off my shoulder. Cruz to take it. Right-footed. From the inside right position. Good free kick. Onto the forehead of Dante, and Dante heads it wide.
Decent chance, wasn't it? Again, Dante, he had a couple in the first half. Poor marking from Manchester City. Decent ball played in. It's been an excellent game of football. Really has. It has. We wanted goals at half-time, didn't we? We're talking about that brilliant response from Man City.
Yes, they were 2-1 down at half-time. They were 2-0 down after 12 minutes, remember, and now they're leading by 3 goals to 2. What news of Manchester City? Manchester United, Alistair Bruce goal.
Phil Jones has opened the scoring for Manchester United. It came from a Robin van Persie corner. David Moyes had brought him on to try and sort things out. I'm not sure if that's precisely the way he thought it might happen. Scruffy old corner. Eventually came to Phil Jones. He struck it well. He scored for United. My word, they have been poor so far this evening, and they could easily be 2 or 3 behind, but they're not. They're ahead. Phil Jones has scored. Manchester United 1, Shakhtar 0.
We don't care if it's Scruffy.
That's what they needed, didn't they? They certainly need just to relieve that pressure that's mounting on them through that game.
I think Shaqiri's going to come on for Bayern Munich. He's a terrific little player.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see what impact he makes. Bayern has certainly stuttered in this second period, and we've already played 21 minutes. We're trying to find out if 4-2 is enough for Manchester City, and I think actually it would be, because remember, Bayern won 3-1.
That's right,
at the Etihad. If City were to score another goal and win this game 4-2, okay, the goals tally would be level over the two matches, but City would have scored more away goals.
Yeah, that's right, and we spoke about it before the game. Bayern Munich went really strong. Manchester City made a few changes, aren't playing what you would consider the first 11, so if they can do it, this will be a magnificent result for Manchester City.
What do you think, Kevin? Does it really matter, winning the group?
I mean, it depends on who you're going to get, obviously, in that next round, so that's got to be the key factor. And I mean, you could end up getting a more favourable draw going into that second phase.
Here, Bayern Munich have possession. And Martinez to Dante. I think they're City fans I'm hearing over my shoulder and the tier behind us. Well, they've much to shout about. I think most of them are on the plane today, and the same plane as I had from Manchester. They were thinking, let's go and see a great ground, see the European champions, and hope our boys do well. I'm not sure many of them getting on that flight this morning would have thought Manchester City would be leading midway through the second half. And Manchester United a goal up now at Old Trafford through Phil Jones. Zabaleta for City. De Silva. Zabaleta again. Zabaleta lucky to get the ball back from Martinez. And now it's with Demichelis. On to Fernandinho. Dzeko, who has had an excellent game. To Kolarov. Kolarov tackled, balls out of play, and it's a throw in to Manchester City. And here's Shaqiri, and Shaqiri is replacing Mandzukic. So who's the number 9 now for Bayern Munich?
Well, it looks like Shaqiri's going to play high up the pitch himself, but there'll probably be a lot of interchange of position with Muller and with Ribery, but certainly gone up there, hasn't he? He's playing up against.
It is not confirmed that 4-2 will be enough for Manchester City to top the group ahead of the European champion. They're only leading 3-2. They've got to score again, remember. Also in this group, Pilsen 0, CSK Moscow 1, and elsewhere Benfica now lead Paris Saint-Germain 2-1. And the game, just to confirm, between Galatasaray and Juventus abandoned at 0-0 because of the miserable weather in Istanbul. Can you believe it? Alcantara gives the ball away and is played securely by Kolarov to Navas. Navas back to Joe Hart. I'm sure the City players must be aware of the equation.
I'm sure they are. You can see it now. They're on that front foot. Again, it was Milner probably just telling them to keep going what they're doing after that third goal. Again, brilliant from Dzeko again.
Yeah, brilliant control from Dzeko, finding Milner, score of the most recent City goal. Forward to Fernandinho, tackle of Fernandinho, ball goes out of play, throw-in taken by the Brazilian to Dzeko. Dzeko back to Kolarov. Kolarov now to Lescott and into Demichelis inside the centre circle to Lescott once more. 21 minutes left to play in the Allianz Arena. You're listening to 5 Live in the BBC. Bayern Munich 2, Manchester City 3. Silva was taken out of that by Martinez. Referee allowed play to continue. Bayern have the ball. Alcantara into Shaqiri, the Swiss. Centre of the City half to Cruz. Cruz, too many white shirts ahead of him to shoot a goal. Gets the ball back from Lam. Cruz crosses. Alaba, great control. Left side of the penalty. Onto his right foot. Crosses into the box. Headed clear by Manchester City. Zabaleta to Silva. And again Silva's been taken out of it. And that should be a yellow card for Martinez.
Well, it looked like he had a real breakaway there, Silva, allowing the ball to run across his body. Martinez knew exactly what he was doing, didn't he?
He got away with it. Very fortunate. Free kick to Manchester City. And here's the problem though with Silva. Silva's just back after injury.
Yeah.
He's had a wonderful game. There's still 20 minutes left to play. Do you take him off thinking about Saturday? or do you leave him on there and let him wreak further havoc?
Well, I'm sure it's in Pellegrini's mind, isn't it?
There's going to be another change for City shortly, that's for sure. But who's coming on? We can't see who'll be coming on, at least not yet. The ball's back with Lescott to Dzeko, on to Fernandinho. Fernandinho ran into Martinez, pulled Martinez over, and it's a free kick, unquestionably, to Bayern Munich. Here's the change, Negredo.
Yeah, it's a positive one, isn't it?
Well, it'd be very hard on Dzeko if he's pulled off, and very bold if Negredo plays with Dzeko.
He may bring Silva off though, and you may be right what you're saying there. He may be, look, he's done 70 minutes with Saturday in mind, but you know, he could be the one that can create for those two.
We've got 19 minutes left to play. Manchester City lead 3-2 at the home of the European champions, and they'll know to a man out there that if they score again and win 4-2, they'll top this group. Here's Ribery on the far side of the field, far less influential in the second half. In goes the pass to Cruz. Cruz wide to the far side, and on now to Alaba in the bright orange boots. Alaba stabs it forward to the edge of the penalty area, and clever Ribery wins a corner for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, again, it was certainly Javi Garcia as well. A brilliant play from him, tracking the runner. He's another one that's grown through this game, steadily improved.
Well, the fourth official still waits to... it's Silva. Silva comes off. I'm not surprised. I'm sad, but I'm not surprised.
No, he's had a really good game, hasn't he? He was the one that got City back in the game with that first goal, but his passing ability and his movement throughout this game has been excellent. But I think it's right, give him 60-70 minutes, and then, you know, with Saturday in mind.
Well, I'm tempted to stand up and applaud David Silva. I think he's a wonderful player.
And he's played so well tonight, coming back after his injury as well. But, you know, say Negredo comes on now and it gives them a joint attack. This should be a really good finish to the game now.
Negredo sprints into the City penalty area to help his team defend this corner. Played in by Ribery. Deep, and the shot driven in and wide of goal. Thank goodness, from Philip Lahm. And who's gone down injured? It's not Negredo. I don't know who it is, frankly. Oh, it's Zabaleta. Zabaleta injured, but I think he'll be all right. He's being pulled back on his feet now. And anyway, the referee appeared to have given a free kick to Manchester City anyway for the challenge on Zabaleta.
I think there's a foul in this, wasn't there? Just a little block on Zabaleta.
17 minutes to go here on 5 Live on the BBC. Bayern Munich 2, Manchester City 3. Manchester United beat Shakhtar Donetsk 1-0 at Old Trafford. United are going to top that group. City have an opportunity to top this group. In fact, we have a scenario that all 4 English clubs could top their groups. Here's Dzeko. Dzeko, who's had a wonderful evening, taps the ball into Negredo, and Negredo lost control of it. He was pushed over eventually, but I think the right decision is that it's a goal kick to Bayern Munich.
Yeah, we've got the phone lines open tonight as well, Alan. You know, we want the Manchester United fans ringing in. Which of the players in the United squad do we feel as though aren't good enough for the Manchester United team right now? And of course, what about this performance from Manchester City this evening? We want to hear from City fans as well. Which front pairing would we want, or would they want in the team to play Arsenal at the weekend? Outstanding options open to Pellegrini right now.
Good ball, floated down the left side for Bayern Munich. Ribery keeps it in play. Ribery running towards the edge of the penalty area, into the penalty area as he beat the defender rather than crossing it. Zabaleta, another challenge comes in, and it's another corner to Bayern Munich. Of course, a third Bayern Munich goal now would snuff out any realistic chance of City topping the group. Corner to be taken by Cruz from the left side. Not Ribery this time, into the near post. Well defended by Manchester City. Milner rushes forward to try to win the ball. But Bayern Munich have definitely stepped up the pace over the last 5 minutes. It's with Neuer, their goalkeeper, well outside his penalty area, heading it forward to Thomas Müller. Glancing header by Julian Lescott, and is behind for another corner.
Yeah, Lescott under pressure there, conceding the corner. You're right though, Alan, it's a good little spell this from Munich. They've not been able to do it in this second half.
It's going to be taken by Shaqiri, this corner from the left-hand side. Boateng has come up from the back. So too is Dante. 3-2 Manchester City lead inside the final quarter of an hour here in Munich. That's a deep corner hit by the Swiss international, came off the City head, and it's another corner, this one from the far side, the left, Ribery to take it. The corner tally, by the way, is 12 corners to Bayern Munich, none to Manchester City. It's only the goals that count. Ribery, right-footed, in-swinging corner. City get ahead to the ball. I think it was Lescott, and it's outside the penalty. Goodness, that's an awful challenge on Fernandinho. And Cruz must be booked for that, surely. Now he's just awarded a free kick.
He's been a bit lenient, the ref, in the last couple, wasn't he? Certainly Martinez should have been booked 5 minutes ago as well, and that was a bad foul as well. Again, City had a breakaway, they had bodies getting forward.
Martinez and then Cruz, both the challenges, bad challenges, were meant to prevent City counter-attacking.
Yeah, definitely.
Hart with the free kick outside his penalty area. Negredo is up front now with Dzeko. Two out-and-out strikers. Dzeko jumps for that free kick taken by Hart. Ball headed back by Bayern Munich, and then Garcia is in heavily, and Fernandinho tries to get his own back on Cruz, successfully I think. He might be booked later for it though. Ball breaks upfield, it's with Ribery. Ribery cutting in towards the penalty area. Cruz still recovering from that challenge by Fernandinho. Zavaleta is there on the far side of the field, inside the play, and the referee is going to book Fernandinho.
I mean, I think he's right in booking him, but it was no worse than the challenge that Cruz made on him a minute before, was it?
Absolutely. Milner, the booking that matters tonight, because that means he'll be suspended from the first game in the knockout phase. 12 minutes left to play here in Munich. Bayern Munich 2, Manchester City 3. Manchester United not playing at their best yet again, but Jones has scored a goal. That means they lead Shakhtar Donetsk 1-0 at Old Trafford. Alaba on the far side for Bayern Munich wins a throw in. It was an attempted pass to Ribery, didn't come off. Alaba takes the throw in himself. Back it goes to Alcantara. Ribery, Alcantara once more. There's a cross into the penalty area. A slip from Martinez, and it's upfield for Manchester City. Boateng did well to hook that ball clear. Dzeko takes it on his chest. Boateng dives into Dzeko. I don't know what Thomas Muller's appealing for. Boateng stays down. Was that really a foul challenge on Boateng?
I think actually Boateng might have even twisted his ankle or something with his follow-through.
I don't think it was Dzeko.
No, it was actually good strength from Dzeko holding off Boateng. Boateng was very heavy with the challenge from behind.
The lines are open, 0500 909 693. It was interesting for me to hear Manchester City fans interviewed at the start of the programme by Alistair Bruce Ball outside Old Trafford, and some of them were alright, talking about Nani and Young, but also talking about Cleverley. Get rid of Cleverley. I mean, he's central to the thoughts of one Roy Hodgson.
They certainly seem very complimentary towards David Moyes, or certainly very realistic towards David Moyes, weren't they? Realising that, look, he hasn't been left with what they're saying, he hasn't been left with the best of players, and he needs to really stamp his authority on the club in the transfer market in the next window.
Play has resumed, we've got 11 minutes to go. City leading 3-2 here at the Allianz Arena, where Arsenal won last season. Bayern Munich, 10 successive victories in the Champions League, trailing Manchester City. Garcia tried to feed it forward to Fernandinho, didn't pick out the right pass. Here's Lam for Bayern to Dante. Dante under pressure from Negredo. He's under further pressure from Negredo. Takes the ball off him. Negredo shoots. Blocked by Neuer. Ball still inside the penalty area. Neuer catches it.
I felt he just delayed his shot, Negredo. I think he could have taken the shot a little bit earlier. Dante did manage to get back and put him off, but good save from Neuer.
Dante dilly-dallying, almost allowed City to score that precious fourth goal. Now Bayern on the attack. Ribery into the penalty area. Back to Cruz. Cruz crosses the ball to the right side, and Lam just outside the penalty, under his right foot. Can't pull the cross in because Milner blocks it, and Milner clears it to Dzeko, who's fouled by Boateng. Surely. Or is it only a throw-in? It's only a throw-in.
Yeah, I think he's given the throw-in, hasn't he? I think the referee may have felt Dzeko tripped over the ball a little bit, but there was certainly contact from behind again from Boateng.
For a game that didn't matter a great deal before kick-off, it's been engrossing.
Yeah, we certainly chose the right game here, Alan, haven't we?
Goodness gracious. Jacko now judged to have fouled a Bayern player just over the halfway line. It's Martinez. Let's get an update from Aston Bruce Ball at Old Trafford.
8 minutes to go. Manchester United leading Shakhtar by the goal to nil. Phil Jones scored it midway through this second half. Since the goal, the United goal hasn't really come under any threat from the Ukraine team. Tom Cleverley, you were just mentioning, he's on as a second half substitute. He's been booked for a clumsy challenge on Fred at the moment. Manchester United are comfortably going to win this group, but don't let that fool you about this performance. They have not been good tonight. United 1, Shakhtar 0.
Thanks, Alistair. Here in Munich, Bayern 2, Manchester City 3. If City score a fourth goal, then they will top the group. Not so easy, is it, though? You're playing European champions. 9 minutes of regular time left to play. The ball is back with Joe Hart after a shot had been flashed in his direction by Shaqiri. Hart clears it high towards Dzeko, headed away by Boateng for Bayern. Thomas Muller with the overhead kick straight out of play. And Muller looks at the referee as if he'd been fouled by Kolarov. No, you weren't. Kolarov to take the throw in for City, who played really well. Even if they don't go on to win the game or get that important fourth goal, I think they'll take great heart from a much changed side prior to the Arsenal game on Saturday. Ridley in the far side of the field, fouled by Zabaleta. Zabaleta's going to be booked. It's a long way off. It was a foul, but I think the referee certainly bought the dive by Ribery.
He's been very lenient with a few challenges that the Munich players have put in, and that wasn't, again, no different from the Cruz or the Martinez challenge early on, a few minutes ago. So, he seems to be picking and choosing when to give them yellow cards right now.
It's 4 yellow cards for Manchester City players tonight. The most important of them, the one shown to James Milner, and he will now be suspended first game of the knockout phase. 7.5 minutes to go on 5 Live. Free kick to Bayern to the left of the penalty area, about 2 yards outside the City box. Cruz is across there. Alaba too. Most likely it'll be Cruz with his right foot to deliver the ball across into the City penalty. There it is, deep, looking for Dante. Punch clear by Hart. Shaqiri collects a few yards outside the penalty area. Hits it away towards the far side inaccurately and behind Cruz, and it's out for a City throwing.
Yeah, again, good pressure from Dzeko, forcing the mistake from Shaqiri, but decent goalkeeper from Joe Hart. He's come through bodies there to get a punch. He got some purchase on it to get it away. I think he's been very good as well, Joe Hart. Don't forget the save that he made it. Was it 2-0? I think it was.
Yes, it was.
Could have put the game out of sight. Really important save for his team.
Zabaleta to take the throw in. 20 yards short of the halfway line. Towards Negredo. Back to Zabaleta. Negredo to Fernandinho. And then it's given away. Bayern Munich have the ball. It's flicked to the left side, and Ribery. Look at the sprint of Alaba, cross into the penalty area towards Shaqiri. I don't think City were expecting that flashing cross from Ribery, and in the end they were quite fortunate to clear the ball. It's with Cruz to Ribery again. Good tackle by Demichelis. Demichelis swings the pass up to the halfway line. Boateng beat Dzeko. Good ball by Boateng to Alaba into the box. Back to Ribery. Ribery, goes down, doesn't get a penalty, it's a dive, he should be booked. Despite the howls of protest from the Bayern fans, Ribery dived.
Yeah, most definitely, and the referee was right on the spot. He recognised it wasn't a foul. He's got to book him for that. He's got to send out a message this game. He hasn't booked any of those Bayern players for the challenge that's gone in, all that dive from Ribery.
My producer, Alistair Yeomans, knows a lot, I'm telling you. He's just passed me a note and says, if this continues, Bayern Munich's last 3 home defeats in the Champions League have been to Chelsea. That was the final, of course, famously, to Arsenal, and now to Manchester City. Well done, Alistair. I remember that Chelsea game somehow. Yeah. I remember John Terry suddenly taking off his suit, and then he was in a tracksuit, and then he was in a strip, and then he had the shin pads on. Here's Ribery into the City penalty area, and it's a goal kick, because it came back off the defender Zabaleta, hit Ribery, and behind. So Hart to take it. Inside the final 5 minutes here on 5 Live. Something thrown from the crowd there, and Joe Hart has drawn the attention of the assistant on the goal line to it. I don't know what it was. I hope it wasn't a coin.
They're bringing Jack Rodwell on down there as well, Alan.
0500 909 693 is the number to call if you want to chat even to Kevin and to Mark up to 10:30. City and United prominent in your thinking, but it could be you want to think ahead to tomorrow night and Arsenal away to Napoli and Chelsea with their final group game on the far side of the field. Look at the run of Alaba. Goodness gracious, Ribery ignores it. Ribery cuts in field. Alaba's now stranded on the left side. Ball's back to Alcantara. All into the penalty area, and the shot by Thomas Muller wouldn't count even if it had been Joe Hart. He was offside.
Yeah, again, Johnny Lescott. You mentioned the start that he had. He was certainly unconvincing at the start of this game, but Lescott has played really well since that first 15 minutes, and he stood up really well there, held the line well to play. Ribery offside.
Jack Rodwell coming on from Manchester City. Their final change, the first of them was enforced. That was early on in the game, and when Richards went off with a hamstring problem, Zabaleta came on. Then Negredo replaced the excellent but towering Silva, and now Rodwell. And the ball's out of play on this near side, so they can make the change now. City if they want to. Fourth official looking to Pellegrini as if, do you want it now? Still not sure. No, Rodwell's not ready yet. Hasn't shown his boots to the fourth official. Thrown for City, thrown to Dzeko. Couldn't control it. Smashed upfield towards Shaqiri by Bayern Munich. Played back in towards Dzeko. Beaten by Boateng. And now Thomas Muller onto Shaqiri. Shaqiri's a busy little player, isn't he? Tackled though by Lescott, and the ball's out for a Bayern throw-in. Surely now the change will be made. It's Dzeko who's coming off for Rodwell. Well, I think Dzeko's been terrific.
I totally agree. I think he's been outstanding, Alan. I really do. He's held the ball up so well against Dante and Boateng at the back. Brought Silva into play, even Milner into play at times. His movement, his pace. He's had a really, really good night, Dzeko.
He's off. Rodwell's on. And City still hope for a fourth goal. Hopefully, first of all, they can win the game. That'd be a terrific victory. But a fourth goal, a new reply from Bayern Munich, and City would top Bayern in the group. Bayern have a corner kick from the right side. That's the near touchline. Shaqiri's going to take it. All the white shirts are back defending. Shaqiri slow to place the ball in the quadrant. Thomas Muller's come across. Maybe he's just going to tap it short. They are going to tap it short. To Muller. Muller back now to Lam. Lam on to Shaqiri. Shaqiri left-footed. Whipped across in. Dante jumps. He was offside anyway. And it's a free kick to Manchester City.
Yeah, again, a brilliant line. We've seen the first goal that they conceded tonight. So the second goal from Goetze. With the wall or the line didn't step up. Di Michele's played Goetze onside. That time in unison, all moving up together. Brilliant defensive play.
City settle for the win as opposed to winning 4-2.
Possibly. The way that they've been playing this second half, but you've got to say, you probably recognise Pellegrini from the sideline that Munich in the last 10 minutes have dominated, certainly territorially, and they need to really try and shore it up. So that's why Rodwell going in there gives them that little bit of stability.
Ball's out of play in front of the Manchester City technical area. Pellegrini has the ball, gives it back to Lam. We're inside the final minute of the regular 90. We've had a lot of substitutions and a couple of hold-ups for injuries. So at least 3 minutes of added time surely, might be 4 or more. Throw goes towards Shaqiri. Manchester City win it. Back goes on the halfway line. Ball played forward to Negredo, who's offside. A little bit unfortunate, but he was offside. Right in front of us. Fourth official is ready to tell us how many minutes will be added on. Always waits until the second that 90 minutes has passed. Bayern on the attack. Alaba. He's not playing left back anymore. Two minutes of added time? Sorry? In the second half, well, they've all been second half substitutions apart from Zabaleta. So that's 5, plus stoppages for injuries. I
was expecting at least 4 there.
Yes, so was I. Anyway, Bayern Munich will not be happy at losing this record of theirs. They still have the record, 10 successive Champions League wins, but they didn't think it would stop here. And it's certainly going to stop here because they're not going to score twice in the minute or so of added time that remains. Alcantara to Cruz, Shaqiri, Boateng on the halfway line, over the halfway line, drives it towards Ribery on the far side of the field. Zabaleta gets his head to the ball, and it's out of play for a throw-in. Ribery to take it. Alaba close by. Just never stops running, that Austrian fullback. To Ribery. Tackle, edge of the penalty area. Third challenge, ball breaks to Alaba. Alaba crosses, hits Zabaleta, goes behind corner.
Yeah, good challenge it was initially from Zabaleta on Ribery. Could have been one for the referee, he was right on it though.
Corner taken shortish for Alcantara. Back to Cruz. Cruz chips it in the penalty area, headed away, and then there was a foul on the Manchester City player, and it's going to be a free kick to City.
Yeah, well done. Fernandinho did really well there as well. And I think maybe just get it forward now, try and have one last throw of the dice, get it forward into Negredo up front and get bodies round him.
I think this is a triumph for Manchester City. Yeah, a much changed team, 2-0 down after 12 minutes, they're going to win 3-2.
Yeah, you're right, Alan. And Pellegrini spoke before the game about saying, look, we want to come here, we want to put on a better show than we did at the Etihad early on this season. We want to come away from it with a bit of credit. They've certainly done that this evening. To come away from here with a win in itself, outstanding performance from Manchester City.
We've had our 2 minutes of added time. The whistle to the lips of the referee. The final whistle is blown, and Manchester City can celebrate. Yes, they're behind Bayern Munich in the group, albeit on the same number of points, 15. But this is a triumph, and they've grown up tonight in the Champions League for me.
Yeah, most definitely. I think they were inspired in the second half from Milner, just closing down on that front foot. He won the penalty and scored a wonderful goal to win the game for Man City in the end. I think it's been a really good performance, especially in the second half for Man City.
So Manchester City have won 5 of their 6 games in the Champions League group this season. Yes, they lost to Bayern Munich at the Etihad. They won the 2 other home games, and they've won all 3 away games. If they could repeat that form in the Premier League, they'd run away with the title, never mind the fact that Arsenal are 6 points clear.
No, it's right. And Pellegrini was saying after a few of the early games as well, he said, look, if we can qualify, none of the big teams are going to like facing us. They've got so much quality in that squad and the team. And tonight, a lot of these players probably won't start Saturday, Alan, but they've put in a really good performance and beat one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world.
Don't miss the commentary, 12:45 Saturday, Manchester City against Arsenal. That's going to be pivotal, I think, in the way the Premier League title pans out. But here in the Champions League, it's finished Bayern Munich 2, the champions of Europe 2, Manchester City 3.